enemy spells and abilities, as well as the order of spells learned, though they are guaranteed to learn all 10 spells by level 16. And the Dragon Lord, once we get there in the vanilla version, well, it has 130 hit points, but here it's a range of 150 to 165, and we are underway.
I see we have Luigi on the left side with Tyerenex, and we have the Red Wizard on the right with the Seawolf.
So we are starting off with an herb, the obligatory magic key, and some big bucks.
And wow, look at these stats that we have to start with. The agility is rather nice, but the defense power does not match the nice agility. And strength is okay. MP is too low for any spells currently, and no spells are available at the moment. And HP is rather low as well.
Yeah, what both of our runners are doing simultaneously here is saving their game, so that way if they venture out and happen to take a death before finding a town, they can reset and preserve that gold. And considering where they are here, there's a lot of plains, which means that interactions with enemies are minimal, and they're going to go ahead and give it a try here. The Seawolf getting a slime, and Tyerenex getting a red slime, so a 1 experience lead for both. And looking nearby and not really in the area, they're going to fight their way up to level 2, which they will get 5 total experience to get to that.
And look at this map we have to start with. The castle just right in the middle of this sort of triangle here. You can go left, you can go right, you can go up. That can lead to some interesting exploration advantages depending on which way you go. And well, speaking of advantages, hurt at level 2. That can certainly speed up the early grind.
As it makes up for those stat gains of 2, 1, 1, and 3. Not so great. Ooh, and the Seawolf getting away from a Warlock, which is a mid-level enemy here, and now Tyerenex is going to hit level 2.
Well, we see the north connects to the west with a small little land bridge there, so won't be doing too much exploration to the north here.
Ooh, and Drolls with the spell of Heal More, and the Seawolf going to get away from that, as Tyerenex is going to continue to... Well, now he's going to venture out a little bit here, and there's a lot of swamp to the northeast that he's going to avoid. Meanwhile, the Seawolf seeing Charlotte Castle, surrounded by the stone, as well as a cave that they're looking to avoid, at least for the moment.
I have to say I'm a little curious on the decision not to check the cave. If it's bonus cave, or more commonly known as the Stones of Sunlight cave, it's a free treasure which could potentially hold a key for you, allowing you access to the treasury early for possibly some much larger advantages.
Possibly. And yes, we did have a death on the Seawolf side. And now going after a Scorpion. Meanwhile, Tyerenex just kind of chipping away at some enemies and finds one just out of the zone. Now, enemies are in different zones here. Oh, Seawolf taking out a Scorpion and up to level 3. 3-1-7-1 and another new spell.
And it's outside, which is definitely good for those cave explorations. Lets you exit quickly, unless perhaps you're trying to set something up for later.
As Tyerenex now is working on and tries to run away from a Scorpion. Oh, probably would have been better served to use Herb, but ends up taking a death there as well. Not sure if Tyerenex had checked the spell inventory or not. As the Seawolf now taking out a Droll, getting another 18 and hitting the 35 experience mark. That's going to be level 4. No power, 8 response speed, 8 hit points, 2 magic points, and a spell of Radiant.
Ooh, that blue dragon, however, will certainly send the Seawolf home, but he has seen that cave, and now with both Radiant and Outside, perhaps if we find Erdrick's Tablet Cave, that could also be quite beneficial for him.
And we noticed a little bit of a flip flop here as Ty with the name, Tyerenex with the name Ty, and Seawolf using the capital Z, and now is also getting to the next level here. So for the moment, we're going... And there's a scorpion, and that's going to get level 4 for the Seawolf.
And hopefully the Seawolf will be happy to see that radiant. Means you don't have to go buying torches. Anytime I don't have to waste any time purchasing torches is a good time for me.
And there's the Seawolf with another scorpion, so now looking to get to 82 experience to get to level 5. Tyerenex, meanwhile, looks to have taken a death and is already at level 5.
Well, hopefully we'll get a look at the spells here in a moment, see if there was any new gains. Looks like we might be heading towards that cave, though. Oh, and that golem there could have been what sent him back to the castle. Seems going west has a lot of our in-game enemies, such as golems and werewolves, which will certainly hit for quite a bit.
So Tyerenex now working on a poltergeist and is able to take it out. So that's going to be another 15 experience. It's going to get into triple digits. Seawolf, meanwhile, with limited resources, meandering around the base zone, which is a 15 by 15 grid.
Well, we do see another cave on Tyerenex's side.
Question is, will he be able to get to it? Oh, and is not, as the Goldman takes it out.
Yeah, the Goldman doth say no.
And now here comes level 5 for the Seawolf. So no power, 1 response speed, 3 hit points, 5 magic points, and the spell of sleep.
Does come in handy, and wow, 2 levels in a row now with 0 power gain. This is feeling slightly reminiscent.
Ooh, and the Drolls with hurt more, and the simultaneous deaths via the Droll in the swamp. So at this point, the preliminary gold that had started in the throne room, pretty much out the window at this point. And Tyerenex trying to get over to the other side and uses an herb just to make sure that it isn't for naught.
Just barely makes it to that side, and oh, we have baby breath on the Goldman as well. And we have the big breath on the Demon Knight.
Yep, Dragon Lord breath from the Demon Knight.
And Seawolf, perhaps thinking over what he wants to do with this Metal Scorpion. I believe at this level, might be able to take it on with hurt.
He's in very heavy contemplation.
I think that's exactly what the Seawolf was looking at, was seeing if he could take it out with hurt, checking maybe the HP values. And surprisingly, getting away from golems, both Tyerenex and the Seawolf, rather easily. The Blue Dragon, on the other hand, not so easily.
Oof. And that will be the 4th death for the Seawolf.
So far, exploration being rather hindered here.
Well, 12
finally
magic points. There we go. On
I was gonna say, finally we get a decent level. So far, you try to go west and try to go east, and you get stopped by golems or blue dragons or werewolves or something of the like.
Ooh, and the fire breath for the sea wolf takes him down.
And Tyerenex will follow soon after due to a poltergeist.
The sea wolf being rather adventurous here, trying to put a wyvern to sleep, but is not able to do so.
Which is actually rather surprising, considering the wyverns have a 416 resistance. So actually a very good chance of putting it to sleep there.
And trying to get away from a blue dragon, but unsuccessful. It's Tyerenex. And now the sea wolf up to level 6. Skeletons with Dragon Lord Breath as well.
Well, the good news is you don't see Goldman, or rather, you don't see Demon Knights or the skeletons in Sharlock typically. We do finally see a town, and it is Cole.
So there's along with a weapon and armor shop as well as an item shop, there is a searchable spot here where we've got Erdrick's token.
Oh, the tease. The Erdrick something, and it has to be the token instead of the armor.
The reason the armor being an ideal thing is that it is the best armor in the game and is in one of 3 different searchable spots. One here in the town of Cole, one somewhere on the overworld, which our runners will have to go to the town of Cantlin to get the coordinates for, and one in the town of Hawk's Nest that is guarded. But in this case, it was the Erdrick's token in Cole. Now, with so little gold, Tyerenex didn't even bother looking into the weapon shop.
I think I would have at least taken a peek just to see if there's anything important to want to return to for later.
So now both of our runners looking to get to level 7 by getting the target number of 337 experience, as Tyerenex is now just a little over 90 away, and now the Sea Wolf is going to head on in to Cole and take a look to see if that token is available, which of course it is. Maybe we'll see if the shop contents are there as well.
And yeah, it looks like the Sea Wolf will go ahead and check the shop for us. Not too bad of a shop. You got a hand axe, you got a half plate, and a large shield there. If you can get a little bit of gold from somewhere, you could certainly outfit yourself a bit better than being completely naked at the moment. Well, in their case, one's wearing robes and the other's wearing overalls.
And Twister toasting my commentary in chat, noting that it is confirmed there are items in the... Just in case we weren't sure, which apparently I wasn't.
I'm really curious to see what that cave by Sherlock is. Perhaps it was checked and it turned out to be something like maybe Rainbow Drop or the Staff of Rain cave.
Oh no! Armored Knights with Sleep.
Slept and wrecked. Those are nasties that you will indeed find in Sherlock, and you really don't want to.
Yes, they are known in the Dragon Warrior community as an AK-47 because it hits like one. And now Tyerenex taking a death in the swamp. His 11th so far this race. Oh, and the Seawolf getting wrecked by a golem that he was unable to get away from. That'll be his 10th death here in the race. Yeah, trying something different this time around and trying to keep track of the deaths as they occur. The manual COD count, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, something that might actually come in handy for both of them, given the amount of swamp we're seeing, is if they were to perhaps purchase some herbs as they're available to in coal, allowing them to actually traverse some of this swamp a little and get some exploration out.
Well, the challenge is that with the numerous deaths that they've had, gold, which was initially available at the start, well, now it's pretty much dwindled down to nothing here. So, I mean, in the case of the Seawolf, unable to even purchase one herb for 24 gold, and Tyerenex maybe only be able to, at this point at 62, only able to get 2, should he so choose. And a question in chat as far as what does COD mean? It's a reference to Dragon Warrior 2, where once you die there, you were told, "Thou art as cold as a cod." When I first heard of it, I thought it meant count of death, but that could also work as well.
Apparently, the king believes that the codfish is rather cold, and we do finally get to see a cave dive, and it's North Swamp.
So Tyerenex going to opt not to go through it with limited resources, was maybe hoping to see what the guardian enemy was of the princess, but a stone man says, "Thou shalt not find out now."
And that is an unpleasant enemy to find in the swamp when you're wanting to be able to just run through it. And unfortunately, he is on the north side, so even though they do have the outside spell, they are not able to take advantage of using outside to exit the north side of the swamp. Good thing is, if you ever enter the south side of the swamp, you are able to cast outside, and it will immediately take you to the exit outside the north entrance. And a werewolf being put to sleep by the Seawolf over here, and we'll be able to explore a new cave for us.
And that looks, I believe, to be the mountain cave.
And how appropriate! Mountain cave in the hills.
So I wonder if the Seawolf is just taking note of where it is, and perhaps, and now going to try to traverse through to at least get to the top treasure chest. One of 5 that are in the mountain cave.
And making very good use of the sleep spell there, putting the Magiwyvern to sleep and being able to run away, and oh, Warlocks with the big breath as well now.
Oof. And sleep not affecting the Magiwyvern, and we will have to find out later what is in the mountain cave.
And that's another one of those surprises, as the Magiwyvern have a 2 and 16 resistance. So 1/8 of the time, your sleep should not be working, in theory at least.
Yeah, well, sometimes those long odds occasionally tend to hit.
Always bet on the long shot.
Except when you do, that's when it doesn't come up.
But of course. And Seawolf getting the bad news of Warlocks with the big breath. And we get a stereo death of Tyerenex and the Seawolf here as well.
Yeah, Tyerenex falling to a metal scorpion had gone through the lengthy swamp to the northeast and was just low on resources to be able to venture further. Southeast,
speaking of lengthy swamp, that was a lengthy swamp trek for the Seawolf, only to run into a blue dragon and be sent right back home. And Tyerenex having another taste of the Droll's hurt more, being sent back home. Yeah, Erdrick's armor definitely going to be a bit of a pivotal item, should it be able to be found. Just due to all the swamp, plus the amount of enemies we're seeing with breath and hurt mores, as Erdrick's armor does reduce the breath damage by, I believe it is 1/3, and the hurt more damage, I want to say, is 2/3.
I thought it was a third for both, but it wouldn't be the first time I'd be wrong. And definitely won't be the last either.
Well, it is certainly possible. I can't be right all the time.
And here comes level 7 for the Seawolf. 3 power, 1 response speed, 10 hit points, 11 magic points.
Well, unfortunately, not a whole lot of magic to use it with, as our current spells don't take that much, aside from Outside and Return, which you don't get to use too much either.
And that was about, I was going to say, it took almost as long to go from level 6 to level 7 as it did for the Seawolf to go from level 1 all the way up to level 6. And just a couple of steps away from that cave, and here comes level 7 for Tyerenex.
Ah, we get to see that was indeed the Staff of Rain cave, right outside of Sharlock now.
So our runners, once they find the Silver Harp, they will return to that cave to trade in the Silver Harp for the Staff of Rain. And the combination of the Staff of Rain, Erdrick's Token, which they've already found, and the yet-to-be-found Stones of Sunlight, will be combined in another cave to acquire the Rainbow Drop.
Unfortunately, not too useful at the moment, and not really a big advantage exploration-wise, as it is right in front of Sharlock. And Tyerenex seeming to do some math on a Droll Magi, however, not being lucky enough to take it down.
Meanwhile, the Seawolf working on a Droll. Better to put it to sleep than to have it wake up and potentially hit you with all kinds of nastiness. Hurt more, I believe.
Oh, and Tyerenex surviving with 1 health from that blue dragon.
And the Droll casting Hurt more just for overkill.
And Seawolf has found the Swamp Cave now.
Putting the Stone Man to sleep and running away.
unfortunately getting ambushed by the Stoneman now and sent packing home.
So now pretty well even in terms of experience. Now just 377 to 375 for Tyerenex versus the Seawolf. Although the Seawolf a little bit more efficient in terms of staying alive, only 15 deaths as compared to Tyerenex's 19.
And so far, there's not really an exploration lead. I believe Seawolf has found Mountain Cave, whereas Tyerenex is not. But other than that, they're pretty much neck and neck.
Indeed, they both know where the swamp cave is. They just don't know what's in it except for stone men that have taken both of them out.
I'm sure something that both of the runners are hoping for is that when that level 8 comes, a heal of some sort, or probably at this point a better option, which would be Hurt More.
Yeah, the Hurt More spell does anywhere between 58 and 65 hit points of damage and can take out most enemies with one casting. And at this stage of the game, a lot of those enemies that they can take out with one casting of it would be very ideal for them.
Indeed, such as the Magi Wyvern who were encountered in the Mountain Cave would be a great target for that.
As that will vault them up to vault them up 83 experience each time that they defeat one. Now, if you're Tyerenex at this point, would you consider, while still alive here, making your way back to Cole to possibly purchase a copper sword?
At this moment, it does somewhat seem like Tyerenex has actually got a decent grind spot going here between Metal Scorpions and Scorpions. But I would certainly, with the amount of gold he has, be heading back to Cole for a purchase of some sort.
Yeah, whether it be more herbs, perhaps, since there isn't the heal spells. I mean, there's options, I guess, is the point. But as you said, this being a pretty efficient grind, perhaps trying to take this, hopefully, up to level 8 before expiring, and trying to reap the benefits of it, especially if there's a heal spell there. Oh, a Druid Lord, though, is a bit ambitious and able to run away from it, thankfully, is Tyerenex.
Oh, but not this time, as Druid Lord casts Hurt More and says no more leveling for you.
Well, so much for that copper sword idea, at least for the moment.
Yeah, he still has plenty of gold left over to purchase some herbs and extend that grinding a bit more, as the Seawolf running into the Dragon Lord breath-breathing skeletons and being sent home. Holy moly, 27 power. And a heal spell. So it would appear level 8 is the level where the cup doth runneth over, and you'll not only be able to wallop quite a few enemies now with 53 attack power, but you'll be able to heal up after those wallopings. Unless, of course, a Druid Lord says no.
Not a bad gift to get right around the half-hour mark.
Will certainly make Tyerenex's grind a much easier feat. Plus, we can now explore some of this swamp. And Seawolf not too far behind. One more kill should do it, and then the Seawolf will have the good news.
But the Stonemen have continued to be unrelenting. Tyerenex is going to try to put it to sleep, and there's the Drolls with Heal More as well. So Heal More and Hurt More for the Drolls.
And speaking of things being not to be trifled with, the Blue Dragons, just like the Stonemen, had claimed quite a few of these cods for our runners.
As have werewolves as well.
And see, I believe we have skeletons, warlocks, and there was one other that we'd seen with Dragonlord 2 Breath at the moment. Can't think of what it was, though.
Was it the Demon Knight?
I believe so, yes. And speaking of those skeletons, whoops. And we actually see, I was just gonna say, we actually see the Seawolf purchasing a torch, perhaps for later when they dive Sharlock, but also getting the Dragon Scale for 2 defense power and a few herbs.
Yeah, the Seawolf taking a page out of Donna Summer and Barbara Streisand's book and saying enough is enough as far as not having any way to heal without using some of those precious magic points. Also getting a Dragon Scale, but not yet putting it on. Once he does, it'll add 2 defense points to his total.
I have been quite prone to doing that myself, purchasing the scale and forgetting to put it on. And the Seawolf now getting the good news of the rather large attack power boost, along with the heal spell. And I believe Tyerenex is going back to the swamp cave.
Able to get away from a Magic Wyvern. On the other side, we have a town right by the exit to the cave, and it is Cantlin.
Ooh, that could be huge. If there's coordinates, as Tyerenex should be able to get to the old man, and it's not too terrible of a count from the castle, that could spell a very nice boost of an Erdrick's armor for Tyerenex.
Well, it looks like some clothes were purchased. Now, did I miss an acquisition of a magic key?
Oh, you're correct. He still needs a key. We do see there is a silver shield this game, though. And we see the metal slimes using the ever-popular sleep and run tactic. Well, once Tyerenex does find a key, he will have the advanced knowledge of there's Cantlin. And oh boy, look at that swamp.
Oh, wow. That is large and treacherous and unfulfilling.
And we see the sea wolf attempting to take on a knight, quite unsuccessfully, and yeah, being sent packing home again. And Caton619 asking if Wolfman is the one who rolled the seed, as Wolfman has been known to roll some rather swampy seeds, but that blame falls squarely on Sparkover this time.
Yeah, Sparkover handling the restreaming duties and Wolfman 2000 with the tracking. Make sure to give them a follow. As well as both of our runners here, Tyerenex and theseawolf1.
And we see another town being spotted by Tyerenex. If this is Remolder, then we would have access to our keys.
If he could acquire 3 more gold.
Nope. We have your favorite town.
It is Breckenary. Well, there's a cheap inn here, and let's see what we have in the... we've got... you could get a bamboo pole if you wanted an additional 2 attack power, but it's going to hold off on that and just utilize the inn, replenish the hit points and magic points, and move on through.
And Seawolf, well, trying to make their way to the mountain cave, but unfortunately the Armored Knight will go with the old slept and wrecked.
The Droll Magi's with the spell of hurt. Tyerenex able to take it down for 58 experience.
That is, thanks largely in part to the Droll staying asleep, is rather tired apparently.
Critical hit certainly doesn't hurt either. Well, it hurts the Droll Magi as it took it out.
And the Sea Wolf trying to put the Werewolf to sleep and being just a little unsuccessful.
And another death for Seawolf.
It would seem sea wolves and werewolves do not get along. Rather interesting so far that of the wolf family, the only one we have seen is the werewolves, which are the strongest of them. No wolves and no wolf lords yet. And unfortunately, Tyrenex's trek on the other side of the continent will be ended by stonemen.
But still a pretty good run, and for this midpoint of the game, a nice grinding spot as Tyerenex was able to take some of those Droll Magi out to jump out to a roughly 200 experience point lead.
Yeah, but with so much exploration still left to go, as we so far 40 minutes into the game, we have only found the token. There's plenty more experience to be had.
Oh, most certainly. That is something that in the later part of the game can be taken care of in one enemy. As they're both working on a wyvern with sleep.
And the wyvern's being rather resistant to that sleep.
Seawolf decided to nope out of it, and Tyerenex able to finish it off.
And on Tyerenex side, the wyvern's being, rather behaved, going to sleep when told. And happily staying asleep, even.
And here comes level 9.
Oh. Now that is going to open it up big for Tyerenex, having hurt more now. That means a lot of those rather mean enemies, including those Magi wyverns that were found in the swamp as well, and along with the Droll Magites, will be very easy to take out now. And speaking of easy to take out, a Blue Dragon easily taking the Seawolf out. Blue Dragons being one of the toughest enemies in the game.
So Tyerenex back on the second continent and passing Cantlin to pick up where he left off in terms of the exploration.
And taking a stop in your favorite town, using for its typically only good purpose.
Yep, good old Six Town.
So we see these race that Tyerenex was running from before, now just one hurt more and 42 more experience richer he will be. And at that rate, it won't take very many of those before we see level 10 popping up.
So Seawolf now back into the mountain cave and finally puts on the dragon scale.
And speaking of those wolf lords that we had not seen previously. However, unlike the werewolves, the wolf lords being, well, never mind. I'll just shut up now.
Hi there, hurt more spell on a wolf lord.
I fear I'm cursing both of our runners quite often now.
And you can see the difference as now Tyerenex able to dispatch of a lot of those enemies and quickly building an experience lead as Seawolf finds an herb in the upper part of the mountain cave.
And Seawolf's barely able to get away from the Magi Wyvern, as Tyerenex is able to take out the Knights along with quite a few of those enemies with hurt more. And we have level 10 with a 14 power increase, 3 speed, 4 HP, 8 magic, and a new spell, which will be return, perhaps?
That is correct.
Okay, so yeah, return was the new one. Well, we get some big bucks in the first of the 4 chests on the second floor, a torch, and the all-important first magic key.
Oh, alright, so even if the Seawolf not able to get to that 5th chest can take a death here, or if, well, potentially can if he doesn't quite make it, but regardless, can head back to Tangel Castle and is going to do just that, but can open up the back part of Tanager, purchase some more keys, and then raid the treasury.
Yep. Not only raid the treasury, but also raid the basement, which could be holding, as we've explored quite a few of our caves already. We have seen the Shrine of the Staff of Rain, we have seen Swamp, and we have seen Mountain. We're still missing Rainbow Drop. We're still missing the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave. We're still missing the Grave and Erdrick's Tablet Cave.
Be honest, Ryu, did you almost slip and say Silver Monkey when you said the Shrine of the...
Yes, I did, actually.
Alright, gotta love that Legends of the Hidden Temple hype.
There was a very notable pause there.
I picked up on, if it weren't for that in the beginning there, then yes, I would have just let it slip by, but I thought, alright, I appreciate it. So yeah, that Oh, and inside the back of Tanager Castle, we have the Rainbow Drop Cave. That is known as the Jerk Cave as well, because if you don't have Erdrick's token, which thankfully they do, and you go to speak to him, then he will literally kick you out of the cave. But yes, the Shrine or Staff of Rain Cave is what was being referenced, not the Shrine of the Silver Monkey.
Well, we have a Death Necklace, and a Death Necklace. And now it's a Bamboo Pole.
Ah, so the treasure chest glitch has been activated.
And that was a key in that chest. And this chest we have a Dragon Scale. And big bucks, so grind away.
So, as the Seawolf is doing so, I can explain what exactly is causing that to happen here. So, treasure chests respawn every time you go to the overworld map, but due to the programming limits at the time the game was made, the game only tracks up to 8 treasure chests at a time as opened. Every chest opened beyond that 8th chest can be taken over and over again. So, the Seawolf, having opened 4 treasure chests in the Mountain Cave, death warped back to Tanager Castle, where in the throne room, the 3 chests that you had taken in the beginning of the game, they're marked as open so you don't get those over and over and over again. So that made 7, and then going into the treasury here, opening up the 8th chest, and then the 9th, 10th, and in this case 11th chest can be taken over and over again. So that one with gold, that had anywhere between 500 to 750 gold a pop, and you can see quickly building that money up to just over 13,000 gold, which is an interesting stopping point.
Well, we have to remember the Seawolf has only seen coal so far. That will be enough for a flame sword, along with the half plate and the large shield that we've seen there.
And quickly beelining for that is the Seawolf. So, half plate armor, the 4th best out of 7 armors in the game, the large shield, the 2nd best of 3, and the flame sword, the 2nd best out of 7 weapons in the game.
And this will certainly assist the Seawolf with trying to catch up to Tyerenex, who has been hurt-mooring everything in sight. This also potentially gives the Seawolf a little bit of an advantage for later in the game, as Tyerenex does reach level 11, and a 2, 4, 1, and a 3. And we have a stop spell and a repel now. But as the Seawolf already has a large shield, and now has the flame swords, that means the Seawolf may not bother with getting the silver shield later for the extra 10 defense power. And depending on what our attack power stat looks like, may not bother worrying about Erdrick's sword either.
And in chat noting that 9 out of the 10 spells are learned at this point, but the one that they need the most to take out the Dragon Lord, Heal More, has not yet been learned. So somewhere between levels 12 and 16 it will be acquired.
And Seawolf heading straight into the swamp cave, and as the Seawolf does have keys, as previously mentioned, we'll run directly into Callan and be able to go and check the coordinates, and, well, if we have any.
Which that is telling one way or the other, because if there are no coordinates, then that confirms that Hawk's Nest will hold Erdrick's armor, the best armor in the game.
And what a difference we're...
And there's a 50-50 shot that the overworld item could be Erdrick's armor, or it could be the fairy flute.
And what a difference we're already seeing with the amount of damage the Seawolf was doing to that Magi Wyvern. Seawolf unloading some of those extra dragon scales. Oh, and choosing to sell the death necklace. Perhaps going to go ahead and go for that full plate. I can't say I agree with that move.
Well, the Seawolf, seeing that there's only 54 hit points here at level 8, the way the death necklace works is you put on the death necklace and it will give you an additional 10 attack power, but at the cost of 25% of your maximum hit points. So generally that gets utilized when there's a max hit points of 130 or higher. So while it is still early, there is a possibility that maybe the Seawolf is gambling here that it won't be utilized. That you won't get that high of a hit point total to be able to use the death necklace. So it's just opting to sell it and get slightly better defense now. So it's not necessarily a bad play. It is it's a calculated risk for sure, but it's not a bad choice by any means.
And we see our coordinates are going to be 69 south and 9 to the east. Not too terrible. Just depends on how much they can actually count from where the castle starts. I believe we only have 2 to the south if we start instantly counting south from the castle. So we'll have to go east a ways before we can start walking south. And agreed, it's not a bad play. I would think waiting at least for now, in case that death necklace could come into play later, as it can save you from having to grind out another level potentially. And I was slightly off. It is 3 south as the most we can see at the moment. And depending on how much land we have south, it could potentially be on the other side of the swamp cave as well. 69 paces is quite a ways to go. And we have Tyerenex finding the mountain cave now.
So you have to figure with the additional 3 levels that traversing the mountain cave might be less challenging for Tyerenex. So having a full stock of herbs, the treasure chest is listed as empty, and now here comes level 9 for the Seawolf.
And that means the Seawolf will now have hurt more, which actually comes at a great time if the Seawolf is making their way over to the swamp cave. Depending on what stands in his way, he may go ahead and rescue Princess Gwaelin and utilize her to locate what the world coordinate item, as Gwaelin will give you a item called Gwaelin's Love, which will tell you where you are relative to Tantagel Castle. allowing you to locate the world coordinate item, or as we've affectionately dubbed her, the Gwalen Positioning System, or GPS.
And Tyerenex now picking up that magic key, so that's going to open up a whole bunch for him as well.
And I think we'll see what the last chest that the Steel Wolf was unable to pick up will be.
Now, if that's either the Silver Harp or the Stones of Sunlight, then the Sea Wolf will have to double back there to acquire it. Or if it's Erdrick's sword, it can be beneficial as well. And it's another magic key.
Alright, so the Sea Wolf will not be missing anything. And that is rather good news for the Sea Wolf if they don't ever decide to double back. And based on the Radiant usage and that turn to the right, I think we're going to see a Princess attempt.
So Tyerenex, it looks like, is opting to cast outside. I thought maybe it was going to grind up to level 12 as it was just 54 experience away, and then maybe Death Warp back to the castle. So now once Tyerenex opens up the treasury and sees the gold there, perhaps might realize, there could have been a gold grind right there.
And I see a Golem on the Sea Wolf side. Is that what our Guardian is? He seems quite fond of the stop spell at the moment. And also the Hurtmore. Unfortunately, speaking of Hurtmore, is the Sea Wolf trying to Hurtmore the Golem, but it has a 15 out of 16 resistance. Oh, and the Golem stop spelling the Sea Wolf, so just disallowing the attempt to Hurtmore it completely altogether. Unfortunately, even if you could land that 1 in 16 Hurtmore, it would not do enough to take out a Golem either. Unfortunately, Golems being one of the most healthy enemies in the game, actually rivaling the Dragon Lord typically in health, or rather the Dragon Lord 2, I should say. Usually around the 150 area for Golems.
Oh, and Tyerenex trying to run away from a stone man and gets wrecked.
And the Taplet noting if you can land a stop spell on the Golem, that you could potentially take the Golem down, which is actually entirely possible as Golems are very susceptible to stop spell. If the Golem is quite prone to casting Stop Spell or Hurtmore, you would then have the advantage of the Golem wasting its turn after turn. We see the Sea Wolf is making great use of the Hurtmore spell, along with the rather nice attack power of 90 at level 9, being able to easily take down any enemies that cross his path, while Tyerenex is using Hurtmore to take down the Armored Knight and get a little revenge, perhaps.
And is going to get level 12 in the process.
And heal more.
So there we go. All 10 spells are acquired by level 12.
And did I miss a rather large attack? No, he has a broadsword. Okay, never mind. I said, did I miss a rather large attack power boost on Tyrenex's side? so far at level 12, though. HP of 76 at the max right now. Attack power is getting pretty good, but might be having to do a grind for the HP.
Yes, the statistic totals that you see along the bottom there, as far as the levels, the different colors indicate, as you saw earlier in the very beginning of the race, that the red that was there indicated subpar starting numbers. And then white is what shows up as you're making the climb. Once you see it turn to orange, that's where you start to think maybe I might consider going after the Dragon Lord if there's enough of the orange there. But when it turns green, you know that statistic is good to go to take on the Dragon Lord with more than marginal success.
And the question in chat, we are indeed still missing Remolder. We are missing Garenham. We have not found Garen's grave. We have not found the Tablet Cave. We have not found the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave. Had to think about it.
I had it here with the notes. And we also haven't found Hawk's Nest either.
Ah, correct.
I mentioned that along with the list was so long that I had to think, all right, did he mention that? Was that mentioned? So yes, still not yet discovered by either of our runners were Garenham, the Grave of Garen, the Tablet Cave, the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave, Rimeldar, as well as Hawk's Nest.
And rather surprising, an hour in, we see the Metal Slimes not only have sleep, they also have hurt. Now, Tyerenex actually did fully explore the mountain cave, so by re-entering and picking these chests up, I believe Tyerenex is going to go ahead and set up the gold grind, having found out that there was gold in the treasury, and Tyerenex does also know where a silver shield can be found. So potentially a silver shield, maybe also flame sword and some better armor, but I think we'll just see flame sword and a silver shield at the most here.
Yeah, Tyerenex probably realizing, oh, I could have done this earlier and didn't even think about it. So, I mean, that's going to end up, as far as the doubling back and everything, it'll probably be about 9 or 10 minute differential, as it was about 55 minutes in that decision was made.
I mean, we do see Tyerenex is still getting grinding, still earning experience along the way as well.
So it is proving to be beneficial, and not even bothering with the 5th chest is just kind of going back and forth, now casting a hurt spell on a werewolf, and now takes the death intentionally.
Now, we do have to wonder if Tyerenex is going to go for just a silver shield or more. That does give the Seawolf a chance to do some catching up. Oh no! Okay, no, he didn't. He didn't open too many there. I thought he was gonna miss it.
No, he just opened the Death Necklace treasure chest in the upper left corner, which you can only acquire it once. So anything after that, it only gives anywhere between 100 and 125 gold, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, I saw the gold come out of that chest. I was like, oh no, he opened the wrong one. I didn't actually catch the amount to see it was the Death Necklace gold. That would definitely be a maybe a little of a facepalm moment there, having to either redo the grind, do the very slow grind, or just say forget it altogether. And Seawolf is going to go ahead and venture back into the mountain cave. We'll see if it's just for the last chest, or if the Seawolf also wants that silver shield now that he knows where it's at.
And given how little has been explored, you have to wonder if you're both runners, really, is this worth the gamble of going back and doubling back? How much has my opponent found? I mean, these are the questions that are coming up here. Is Tyerenex stopping at 23,536? And because of the trolley non-playable character soldier, is going to wait a little bit. And that actually was the smart plays. It would have taken just a hair longer to take the long way around to the other staircase.
And that will be enough for a flame sword and the silver shield there.
Actually,
maybe.
Wait a minute.
I think he's a little short. Yeah, he's going to be about 1,000 gold short there.
Yeah, 24,600 would be enough to purchase both. Now, perhaps banking on the buyback of the broadsword or the half plate. So as long as he buys the broadsword first, that'll give him another 750 back. As now the Seawolf getting to level 11.
Yeah, if he goes ahead and gets the flame sword first, selling the broadsword, he'd still be short.
That is correct. I just did the math here. He would be short by 314 gold.
Well, Tyerenex still has a death necklace to sell, so maybe banking on selling the death necklace as well?
Or maybe not thinking about it and... Well, we'll see here momentarily.
Yeah, we'll know soon enough. Unless, well, maybe he wanted the magic armor.
Oh, that could be possible.
He's gonna go ahead and forego the flame sword for some better armor here. Interesting.
Well, he figures, alright, I've got the broadsword. It's the third best weapon in the game. It gives me 20 attack power in addition to my base strength. So I'm doing alright there, whereas the defense now, I mean, you can see there, the defense of 70. There are a lot of enemies that are going to hit him for less, as now Tyerenex getting the coordinates.
We'll get to see if Tyerenex decides to try and count that one out.
Ooh, and a werewolf taking out the Seawolf, although I believe that might have been the intentional setup for the gold grind.
The sort of, what was that now? The Sword of Sunlight? Is that what that said?
No, I just looked at the replay. It was the Sword Magidrak.
Oh, the Sword Magidrak. Interesting. And Lord of the Sun saying Sword Magician. The Sword Magidrak, though, that's a new one, I believe. I don't think we have seen a Sword Magidrak before. I know we have seen the Sword Magician, along with the Axe Ghost, and my personal favorite still, the Red.
Yeah, thou hast found the Red. Yeah, fortunately, with the delay that we have here in terms of the broadcast, we were able to see our live feed, and then I doubled back over to the Randomania 2 live broadcast and was able to get a second look at it, and that's how we were able to see the Sword Magidrak. Although I'm sure you're out there able to pull it up doing the whole clip thing as well, so there's another possibility.
And Lord of the Synth also noting we have also had a harp night before, as Sports have states we have something for our resident artist. For those who are not aware, Captain Uhu is rather fond of making many of these things, such as the Axe Ghost, and well, he's also why we have the Drogon Lord. Meanwhile, Tyerenex making their way through the Golem and does pick up Princess Gwaelin.
So the Seawolf now, it looks like, has finished the gold grind, finished the save, and is now, I believe, heading on over to the castle. Or heading on over to the town, rather, to purchase some things from the castle. If this Demon Knight will be cooperative here. So Tyerenex now getting Gwaelin's love, so we'll be able to utilize the coordinates to search for that overworld item. So we will find out once he makes his way down there, will that in fact be Erdrick's armor, the best armor in the game, or will it be the fairy flute, which can be used to put golems to sleep?
Which, as golems are already susceptible to stop spell, and they do seem to like casting spells a lot, not going to be a big benefit if it does turn out to be the flute. Alright, and we do see the Seawolf making their way back into Cantlin and heading directly for the shop that has the silver shield after finishing their grind again. Perhaps also going to pick up the magic armor, as they did grind to 22,000.
Yep, and picked up the armor first to be able to just make sure that there is enough in terms of the residual buyback. And now the second best armor and the best shield in the game, the silver shield adding 20 defense points to the total, the magic armor providing 24. So the Seawolf has all the best equipment money can buy.
And a golem punching Tyerenex for quite a bit and sending him back home. The golem did not appreciate having spells blocked, it seems, or was that Tyranex's spell that was blocked?
I believe that was Tyrenex's spell that was blocked, as the golems have been known to cast stop spell quite a bit.
Oh, we see, finally we have a wizard, and they have the baby breath. And looks like Seawolf getting a little exploration of the swamp done. Unfortunately, finding that there's not much in the swamp. It's always a nice surprise though when you find those towns located deep in the swamps, and it just makes you wonder what came first, the town or the swamp?
Well, if it was the swamp that came first and then they built the town over top of it, well, shame on those townsfolk, because unless they wanted to keep everybody out. And oh look, it's Breckenary. And Seawolf just using the inn and heading right back on out. Here comes level 13 for Tyerenex. 29 hit points.
And 29 hit points will certainly make up for the lack of HP so far.
So now you see the majority of the statistics for Tyerenex in that borderline thinking about it range, but still some work to do as an armored knight makes Tyerenex slept and wrecked. And that's the thing with the randomization factor, is that while there is an overall balance to the entire game, you will at times get those levels that just tend to spike one particular statistic. I know I was running a seed earlier today where one level gave me a 45 agility boost. And Keely Papa asking in chat, have they found a decent grind spot yet? It doesn't look as though they have. It looks as though they've just been kind of fighting and exploring all at the same time, and the exploration has been limited to a degree because of the treacherous enemies that have occurred. Yeah, Sports Hefe noting they're still missing a third of the game, as now getting up to level 12 is the Seawolf.
And we'll be happy to see the plethora of spells.
So now the Seawolf heading back into Cantlin. And there is that armored knight with sleep again. So both of our runners are still looking, as Tyerenex getting slept and wrecked by that aforementioned armored knight. Both of our runners looking for the Silver Harp as well as the Stones of Sunlight. And those are both going to be in some treasure chests, and there's still 11 by my count treasure chests that have yet to be opened.
And looks like Seawolf potentially will be rescuing a princess.
And Tilo noting in chat, starting to remind him of the Ouija Wee and Azrael Ravenheart match that had the ridiculous overworld map. Yeah, that was certainly interesting, and that ended up taking. That match was ridiculous, but it was also pretty much on one line, and that ended up being just under the 2-hour mark. Yeah, this by comparison is a sprawling mess.
Yeah, it seems we might have actually explored all of the second continent, as it seems both of the runners have done a kind of a loop of the second continent and have made their way back to Cantlin now.
And speaking of Azrael Ravenheart, you can actually check out later tonight here among the Randomania networks in just a little over 2 hours from now, as it'll be the battle of the last two 2-0 runners in the third Swiss round here. It's going to be Azrael Ravenheart against JJ Schmidt 77. And that'll be here at 10:30 Eastern among the Randomania networks. I don't believe it has officially been confirmed, but since it doesn't look as though there's anything else immediately scheduled for this evening, but I believe that will be on the main Randomania network.
I have to say, this is one of those maps where it would seemingly come in handy to be one of our various map drawers in order to keep track of things.
Indeed, with the large landmass, it is very difficult to keep track of everything, especially if you're not jotting anything down, as Tyerenex passing what we know is the Staff of Rain Cave. So the experience differential at this point about 1,600 in favor of Tyerenex, but the Seawolf has the edge in terms of equipment. And as far as exploration, they're both pretty well even here.
He does have an ever so slight advantage. However, the Seawolf is actually going after our coordinate item here.
And looks to be on the path of it here. Still quite a ways south to go, and
yeah, this was one of an interesting. You had to go far to the west first, then go south, and then come back east. You couldn't start out in any one of the two directions first, going east or south.
so still has 8 more to go east and 18 to the south to get to where that spot is.
And as if able to hear me, and, a little fly buzzing in his ear, Tyerenex is now on their way, seemingly, to start the coordinate count as well.
And double checking again here, 67 and 9, so just 2 more to the south, and right there along the coast, it is Erdrick's armor.
Well, I wish I could say that's going to be a big boost for the Seawolf, but Tyerenex hot on his heels.
So what that also means is that Hawksness, other than potentially having a grindable enemy to get up the levels a little bit more, will otherwise not be required, as at best it will have the fairy flute, and at worst it will have absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that'd be about the only thing Hawksness would serve, if it even has the flute. It could still be buried in a chest somewhere. And speaking of Hawksness, this could be it as the Seawolf approaches a town. If it does happen to have and 2 towns even, one of which was indeed Hawksness, along with one of our missing caves, and Garenham, which will hold another missing cave. So quite a bit to be found near where the armor was.
And Tyerenex is exploring to the south there. The Seawolf is staying at the inn in Garenham, and now we're going to see what is in the 3 chests. We've got some big bucks. We've got the Fighter's Ring. That's going to add 2 attack power to the total, and we've got some Fairy Water. So I'm going to put on that Fighter's Ring, so that'll move the attack power from 112 to 114 for the Seawolf. And in the back of Garenham, we have the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave, which is why it's known as the bonus cave. And it is the Stones of Sunlight in its vanilla cave location. There's something you would not expect, which is what makes it good for randomization.
Well, we were kind of running out of caves here. And we do have the grave. Would have actually been really beneficial, unless the harp is in the first 3 chests here, to have found Erdrick's tablet cave, and then had that have the harp. Then you don't even have to look at the grave, other than maybe for Erdrick's sword.
Ooh, another 18 here at level 14. And
well,
among those top 3 chests, indeed, it is the Silver Harp. And now Tyerenex is going to get the items in Garanham. And there is that Fighter's Ring play put on by Tyerenex. And the Seawolf is going to go deep into the grave here. And there's the Stones of Sunlight for Tyerenex. So about 2 minutes and change after the Seawolf picks up the Stones of Sunlight, so too does Tyerenex. And I would imagine in a matter of moments there will also be the pickup of the Silver Harp for Tyerenex. And some big bucks in the 4th of 5 chests. And about a 2-minute differential, and now the Seawolf trying to head on back to get the 5th and final chest in the grave. But needs to be on the southwest side of that floor. Now is along the right path here. And the Seawolf navigating this last little bit here in the dark. And Keela Papa, the reason that they're still diving the cave is I believe they're looking for Erdrick's sword, the best weapon in the game. As compared to the flame sword that the Seawolf has, it will give an additional 12 attack power, and it is not there. Some more big bucks. And compared to Tyerenex, it's another 20 points. So very crucial, especially given how low the strength is at the moment. And, well, there are 9 potential treasure chests in which Erdrick's sword can be in. There are the 7 in Charlotte Castle, but we have also not yet found the Tablet Cave, nor have we found the town of Rimmeldar.
Speaking of which,
well, we have now found the Tablet Cave. So no enemy encounters in the Tablet Cave, just a nice little 20-second walk or so, and it is an herb. So that means that unless Erdrick's sword is in the town of Rimmeldar, that Erdrick's sword may be within Charlotte Castle's confines.
yeah, with this exploration we've had at this point, I would love to see it in Rimmeldar.
Trying to keep us here until that 10:30 matchup, huh?
I'm just a sadist, that's all.
Well, true. You do run a lot of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Chaos Edition. which, along with everything else that's shuffled around the town, the town has the armor and weapon prices that are shuffled around. So you can see things like bamboo poles for over 10,000 gold, and you can see the silver shield, which normally is 14,800. We've seen it as low as 1 gold in some of those chaos seeds, as well as the enemy's statistics all being completely randomized. Their strength, their agility, their hit points, the amount of gold they give, and the amount of experience that they give. So it is a definitive roll of the dice, and we see that the fairy flute is in fact in Hawksness, as the stone man looks to be the guardian enemy. And both of our runners giving it a look at the same time, the Sea Wolf opting not to grind there. And Tyerenex trying to trade away Gwaylin's love for the fairy flute. And Jack giving Tyerenex points for attempting it. I can only imagine how that can go. I don't want your love, but thou must.
You know, I have to honestly say I never attempted to throw it out and didn't know it doesn't let you.
Well, true love cannot be thrown away. Or some other fairy tale nonsense of that regard. So Tyerenex has acquired the Staff of Rain and is now heading into the back of Tangential Castle to make sure that the magic keys are re-upped, and then to ideally trade all the essentials in to get the rainbow drop. And the Sea Wolf, not too far behind, is going to go and get his Staff of Rain. And at this point, Chitin asking, are we almost in go mode? Well, we're pretty much in grind and go mode, but our runners are going to be looking for Erdrick's sword. There's an 87.5% chance that it is in Charlotte Castle, and then there's that 12.5% in Rimeldar. So given the way the seed has gone, I think, well, I a long shot, because if I do, then it won't be correct, but I would be not surprised in the slightest if it is in Rimeldar. Next looks to be playing the odds and is heading on over to Charlotte Castle.
Well, I mean, if we look at it, if the sword's in Sharlock, he's got the HP. The MP is a little lacking, but Tyerenex isn't that far away from hitting level 15, although he is missing some MP out of his max as well.
Well, I think this is an exploration dive for Tyerenex, as casting Hurt More there on the Star Wyvern, so bringing the MP down to 78, which would only be 9 heal mores. So I think the plan here for Tyerenex is to fight some fightable enemies along the way, and kind of maybe grind down to the 15, which is only just over 1,000 experience away. Get to the bottom, look for the sword. If it's there, awesome, then head on out, find a grind spot, and you're in go mode. And if not, you have that knowledge, you've gained a little bit of levels, and then it's a matter of, all right, do I look for vanilla first? And then if it's not there, then we know, oh boy, we've got to find Rimmildar.
I'm gonna go with my personal favorite guess of vanilla if it's in Sharlock, but I still want to see it be in Rimmildar.
A lot of chat is sharing your sentiment on that, Ryu. And up to NG asking, got a longer one this evening. Well, it has been a bit of a trial, to say the least. The enemies were a little on the rough side for both of our runners. In fact, I've actually kept a death count, and right now Tyerenex is up to 31 deaths versus the Seawolf's 29 deaths. So that has certainly played a factor with a combined 60 deaths, as the enemies have been rather cruel, and then finding a lot of the items has been beyond a challenge, as it was only just recently, within the last 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, that both of our runners had found and acquired the Stones of Sunlight, the Silver Harp, and then trading the harp in for the Staff of Rain, and finally getting the Rainbow Drop.
Plus the armor as well.
Token. Oh yeah, the armor as well. Erdrick's armor was just acquired by both of our runners about 15 minutes ago, and Erdrick's token was both found pretty close to the same time by one another, and that was in the coal search spot, and that was roughly an hour and 23 minutes ago.
It certainly has been quite some time since we saw that token being found. And then there was a whole lot of nothing being found.
One of the delays for both of our runners had been they had both found the mountain cave and had gotten a majority of the chests out of there, and in Tyrenex's case had gotten all of the chests out, but opted to cast outside rather than go back to Tangential Castle for a potential gold grind. So that added a few minutes to both of their time along the way. Not necessarily thinking that the gold might be in the treasury, because at that point they didn't know, but that was the first point in which they had acquired a magic key.
And Seawolf skipping right past Vanilla location, but also skipping out on a lot of these easier to kill enemies, such as the wizards. Oh, and red dragons. I'm not sure if this was mentioned before, but sleep and hurt more.
The Diet Wombo combo from the Fun Police. Yeah, using sleep and hurt more, and well, the reason the Red Dragon's known as the Fun Police is when they show up, the fun tends to stop.
Yeah, thankfully they have Erdrick's armor, so it doesn't do quite as much as it would normally do, but still. And unfortunately, attempting to get a stop spell on the Red Dragon for the Seawolf, not going to be too effective with their resistance this time around. And Red Dragon sending Tyerenex on home before he got to dive too deep and actually see what goodies Sharlock held. And, well, the Seawolf does manage it. It's actually 11-16 resistance for those Red Dragons. So only a 5 in 16 chance of landing that stop spell. This could actually be a rather large catch-up here for the Seawolf. Should he find the sword, and, well, should he make it and get the sword if it's here, he can go straight to the grind, whereas Tyerenex will have to finish making a second dive.
And the level 15 stats, not that great.
No, they're not, but should they get the sword, it might just be enough. Not for a guarantee, but enough to at least make an attempt. And the Seawolf getting another lucky stop spell, taking out a second red dragon now, and that will get the Seawolf up to level 14 now. So only a 2004 experience gap at the moment.
So we've got Fairy Water, we've got Erdrick's Sword in the 100 chest.
And that will do it. And at level 14, not quite enough. We're actually sitting at 129 attack power. That unfortunately will not do it. Not with the current HP and MP counts. He would need quite a few double attacks for that to work.
And question in chat as far as the Death Necklace. So Jake Hoper asking that question. The Seawolf had acquired the Death Necklace, but sold it off a little earlier on in the seed to acquire enough gold for the full plate armor at the time. And given where the hit point totals are, they're kind of borderline. But yes, the Death Necklace was in the upper left chest in the Tantagel Treasury. So nothing else of note need be sought out in those chests.
And looking at it, we are sitting currently for level 14 for the Seawolf. We're sitting on 7 to 14, averaging 11. It would take 15 hits, but we only have 10 heal mores right now. So we would most definitely need a few double attacks in there in order to make this a successful Dragonlord fight. And wow. Red Dragon's the guardian of the Dragonlord, and again the Seawolf manages to get the stop spell.
Yeah, at the time that the Seawolf had sold the Death Necklace, he was at level 8, and I believe only had 54, maybe 56 hit points. Oh, and the Seawolf getting slept and wrecked by the the Red Dragon, making him green with envy of the abilities in this case.
And I think we'll be having to go to level 16 for this one, as we have only a 3 strength difference. So once Tyerenex does pick up his Erdrick's Sword, that will put him at 132, dealing 8 to 16 with 12 on average. Still going to be requiring on some doubles. So we aren't looking at a guaranteed Dragonlord kill. It is a possible, but not guaranteed.
Well, Tyerenex has fought down to the 7th basement of Sharlock, and should be able to get to the treasury here, pending some chicanery. And we'll also acquire the sword. So that will put Tyerenex up to 132 attack power. And Tyerenex is going to just check everything else out here, I guess, to fill out my notes, as there's a torch. And some big bucks. Another torch.
Hey, a corset, finally.
And a curse belt.
So that leaves just the Remolder chest, which is most likely maybe a pair of wings. world may never know.
That more than likely is the case, as we only saw one set of wings, and that was in Garen's grave the entire seed.
And that's what I'm going with. We've seen herbs, we've seen the fairy waters, we've seen some keys, and seen lots of gold plus torches. So I don't believe we saw any wings. Oh, and actually, Tilo, reminding, we also have Vanilla Sword location as well.
Okay, so that would confirm it. So then one of the two items will have a cursed belt, the other would have a set of wings.
And we see the Seawolf going ahead and going with a Golem Grind, as he can stop spell it and just repeatedly beat on it with that 129 attack power, now 132 at level 15. And has actually done a fairly decent job of catching up to Tyerenex, being 2004 behind previously, now only 2454.
Actually, it's even less than that. Only about a 16, a little over a 1500 experience.
Or 1454. My apologies. I said that one back a little bit wrong. Forgot to uncarry the one.
Math is hard, especially in a heated race like this here. So Tyerenex, it looks like, is trying to fight down to what the mini-boss is to get that bit of information, and is going to heal up, and we'll see that it is our good old friend, the Red Dragon, the Fun Police. It immediately hits Stop Spell, which does not have an effect.
And that's going to be one of the things here is, although Tyerenex is very close to level 16, with the current MP count, you really can't afford to use more than one stop spell on the Red Dragon. So you either have to just deal with being slept, or potentially give up a heal more or grind for more MP.
And there it is, Tyerenex is slept and wrecked. But at least has that knowledge.
And seeing as the Seawolf also made it, they do both have the knowledge. I have to say, I rather like the Seawolf's idea to go ahead and grind on these golems, since it is just over in the Swamp Cave. He's actually closed the gap rather quickly, now at less than 1,000 experience between them.
Now, both looking for level 16. The target experience number for that is 9,750.
And looks like Tyerenex is either going to grind on enemies on his way down, as he is very close, or he's going for the first floor grind, perhaps. Depending on what he encounters, he can certainly get the experience a lot quicker than Seawolf on these golems at the moment, anyway. And just one more kill and we will get to see what level 16 holds.
4 power, 8 response speed, 8 hit points, and 5 magic points.
Well, that gives us 1 extra heal more. And that will put us at 9 to 18 damage now, average of 13. Plus, at least for Tyerenex, he does still have the Death Necklace on the table, should he choose to use it. So with averaging 13, we would need 12 hits. Seeing as we do have 11 heal mores, it's definitely very doable. 1 double would pretty much clench it for him.
Yeah, if he were to use the Death Necklace, he would have a max hit points of exactly 100, so that would reduce the opportunity for doubles, but would attack for a range of 11 to 23.
And that would put him on average, I believe, would be 16, and then we would only be looking at 10 hits, which with 11 heal mores, 10 hits will do you.
So yes, theoretically, Tyerenex could go at 16 and use the Death Necklace, but is opting to go for the Golem Grind.
And speaking of 16, we have the Seawolf, who has reached 16 and is coming over to... You know, he doesn't really have a name. We'll have to think of a name for the old man who restores your MP kindly in Tantagel Castle at some point. But he's going to restore his MP, and I believe he's going to go ahead and go for it. Now, Seawolf did sell his Death Necklace, so he's not going to have that advantage. But it is entirely possible to be able to beat Dragonlord, and it's a lot more safer than it was at 15.
So lots of suggestions coming in chat as far as what to name that that individual whom recovers your MP. I will admit Hyperstrike is onto something in my opinion with Brother Maynard, but I also like Monty Python a lot. Now, the target number for Tyerenex to get to level 17 is 12,000 experience, which at 255 per golem is only 3 golems away. Now 2.
Let's call him George.
There were also suggestions of Fred as a little nod to one of the other randomization creators. I wouldn't be opposed to it because Fred gets a lot of flack even when he has nothing to do with it, so it'd be nice to give him credit for something good.
For being helpful in this case.
Most certainly. So as much as I like the name Brother Maynard, I think Fred would be respectfully apropos. And here comes level 17. 12 power, 8 response speed, 11 hit points, 11 magic points, and go time.
Well, level 17 is level 17 is the guaranteed you will beat the Dragonlord's level, as we see all the stats turn green. When all the stats are green, you know you've got it.
So on to Robert George Fred Healerman, as Busmaster 549 noting in chat. That's a lot to remember, though.
I'm just gonna call him George, and he'll be my friend.
Oh, the reference just hit me. Wow, Looney Tunes. That's going way back.
It took that little bit more to get that in there. I feel old.
You and me both, buddy. It ain't just you. So, well, that pretty much, I mean, it can take the Death Necklace strats out. I mean, 148, you're looking at a range of 12 to 24, and you have the potential for more doubles, so I think at this point, Yeah, just keep the death necklace in your pocket. Don't put it on.
Well, as I told McGrew, the creator of the randomizer earlier, when I was watching him do some practice, I personally would do it anyways.
So stop spell being problematic for Seawolf on the red dragon, and he is slept. Only for one turn though. Now he hits stop spell.
But he's also down another heal more. He will be needing a lot of double attacks for this to work, or some very high rolls. This is not going to be a pretty fight. And he is out of herbs as well, with using all of his herbs to heal it before the Dragon Lord here.
So 9 to 18, we'll see how Dragon Lord's first form goes.
Oh, and he gets double hurt more by the Dragon Lord 1. That's no fun. Thankfully, it does not get ambushed.
13.5. Unless Seawolf gets some really high rolls, I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, he starts off with a 12.
Well, he started with a 10. His second one was a 12. And we're going to see a double here. There's a 17. That's more what he needs. We're at 39.
Another 12 for 451. And a 16, that's going to make 67.
And he's going to need a lot more of those double attacks, though.
There's another 16. We're up to 83.
It's starting to look up.
Oh, and there's a 9 for 92.
But he gets a double here, too.
The 11 makes 103, now down to 3 heal mores.
This is possible.
There's a good shot here. Another 14, so that's at 117.
And a good heal more there. Another chance for a potential double. Not with the fire breaths.
I think he may have this. 145. Using the last heal more.
He's gonna get
Tyerenex taking a death. Meanwhile, the Seawolf hitting for 17.
He's gonna get 2 hits here, but he doesn't even need them. Wow, what a fight.
So the Seawolf going at 16 and hitting the lucky, well, not necessarily, well, I guess, I mean, beating the odds in terms of the stop spell on the red dragon, and having just enough with the double attacks, and the Seawolf 1 is going to take the victory here. Chat, get out your GGs, as the Seawolf will finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 10 seconds, and immediately Tyerenex hits the forfeit.
Yeah, I can't say I blame Tyerenex on that one. Right about 2 hours in, it was quite a struggle there.
Although once Tyerenex had gotten down there, it would have been just it was a matter of just taking out the Dragon Lord once getting there, as that would have been considerably easier. But the challenge was definitively getting down there, most notably the Red Dragons, and to a degree also the Armored Knights that were using their sleep spell and doing so often.
Yeah, unfortunately, those Red Dragons, they were 75% sleep. And so were the Armored Knights.
The Armored Knights, yeah.
And unfortunately, Armored Knights with a 10-16 resistance to stop spell, along with the 11-16 stop spell on the Red Dragon. So, yeah, a couple of really nasty enemies to see down there in Sharlock.
And Cyan Bio asking, was this a 1-on-1 match? That is correct. So the Seawolf with the victory is going to go to 2-1 in the Swiss rounds. Tyerenex will fall to 1-2. So the Seawolf, if nothing else, is qualified thus far for the play-in, but one more victory, and the Seawolf will automatically qualify for the bracket stage of the tournament. Swiss rounds. Tyerenex will
And
fall
speaking of the Seawolf, we are joined by the Seawolf.
Seawolf,
hello and GG's.
Thank you. How y'all doing after watching that bloodbath?
Bloodbath and then some, yes. It looked like things were pretty even across the board in terms of, in terms of your finding the things. As I'm looking here, I mean, both of you had gotten the Erdrick's token around just under the 15-minute mark, and then it was a matter of going all across the land to find everything else, as once you did, it was pretty much all clustered together. The Erdrick's armor, the Stones of Sunlight, and the Silver Harp, just all right there in a distant part of the land, and both of you maybe about a minute apart from finding those. It looks like what the difference was your grinding of the golems a little early on to get up to level 15 and eventually 16, and having a nice amount of beating the odds in terms of hitting those stop spells on the Red Dragon. Tyerenex had gotten up to 17 and still wasn't able to fend those off, but once Tyerenex got there, it would have been game over for the Dragon Lord, but the challenge was more so getting to the Dragon Lord than it was the actual fight itself.
Red Dragon was only on the bottom of DL2 or Charlotte Castle. I didn't see it anywhere else in the world, so Red Dragon was definitely a problem, and you didn't know it to the end of the game. And he had all the tools. He had sleep. He had hurt more. Hits like a truck. He's still a Red Dragon, so he had all the tools. And I had to basically grinded those levels to get more MP because I knew I was going to have to at least once fight a Red Dragon to attempt to stop spell him and heal up afterwards. So I basically grinded that extra level, thinking that I'm going to eventually have to engage one for the boss at the very minimum.
Yeah, those Red Dragons were certainly troublesome, and as mentioned, you were getting a stop spell on them quite a bit for their 11-16 resistance to it.
Is that set? Did you look it up, or is that actually just still set from the basic stats?
The stop spell is actually randomized in the normal flags.
Yeah, I thought so. So it was definitely after he's got spells, it has to be at least somewhat susceptible to, or at worst case, not very susceptible to it, but it will work eventually. And with sleep as an option on the board, you can't not stop trying it. Like either run away, get lucky, or stop spell because sleep will kill you. And even with a full HP bar, I think 3 or 4 times I got knocked out for like 4 or 5 rounds and survived by low rolls more or less.
So yeah, what was going through your mind as you entered that Dragon Lord 2 fight with, you were down a heal more from the get-go, having to use Radiant and stop spell, but then you had to use extra stop spells, losing you another heal more.
Basically I was hoping for the few extra, I got to the very end of it, it was the last heal more that I did. I was basically rolling on the fact that I have so much HP. If I get some lucky punches, I can get some double or triple rounds in. I think I got 3 doubles. So I knew the damage was there. It was a matter of just my rolls and getting a few extra rounds of combat. And DL1 surprised me. I hit him really hard. 47, 49, he still kept going. Like he had the extra, I think he had the maximum HP or really high HP for his possible spawn. And yeah, he took those 2 shots like a champ. I was shocked he didn't go down 2 hits.
Yeah, he actually had 100 HP.
Okay, so I did 3 less. I did 97.
Yeah, just borderline. Did you ever think, kind of, I wish I hadn't sold that death necklace once you saw you had the HP to have used it?
I gained 20 HP on a level. I was like, no, be nice right now. Go back about 50 minutes of my life and saying, you know what, you don't really need that full plate. You can be toughed out with a half plate, you'll be fine. But didn't happen, so it still worked out. And Wolfman kind of got his wish. He was asking IRC about having someone doing an MP agility build, and he kind of got the wish because I spent the first 10 levels slinging fireballs around because I didn't have any weapons or armor, so I was hurting everything the best I could. So I was almost a magician seed.
So something that didn't quite come into play, although there was certainly speculation of it, about 45 minutes into the seed, I would say, you had opted to sell the death necklace to get the 1,200 gold needed to go up to 3,000 to upgrade from a half plate to a full plate. Was that something that you thought may come back to bite you, or I guess at that point, having such little hit points at the time, I don't know. I guess what was your thoughts on it? I know we were definitely speculating back and forth here in chat and commentary.
Yeah, I was ultra squishy. I didn't have any weapons at the time. I didn't have. Actually, I think at that point I had a hand axe at that point. Actually, no, I didn't have. The only thing I bought was the. By weapon wise, I think I just bought the. Yeah, I only bought the flame sword. Honestly, I think it just basically came to a point where it was like I'm so vulnerable right now. I have no weapons. My armor is pretty crappy. I haven't learned any heal spells yet. I think I had basic heal, which made fighting dangerous because I can survive swamps now, but I can't survive. If I come across a mid-tier or high-tier enemy to punch me in the face for a surprise round, I can't survive. Trying to run. So I figured at that point, my primary goal is to not die in 2 hits, as opposed to get more hits with Dragon Lord later on. I always grind level, and the golem, thankfully, was the ideal grind because he was stop spell centric. He was focused on that stop spell. So once I fought him the first time, it was a pain in the neck to get Gwaelin to get the armor. He became child's play. I think I fought like 8 golems in a row or 6 golems in a row without healing at that one point because they just didn't want to punch me.
Nor did they want to use hurt more, which they had a slight chance of doing as well.
Yeah, I noticed that only after the stop spell they hurt more. Because I ran the first time, and this guy's the business. He's gonna be in trouble because he has stop spell, and once you can't heal, he starts blowing you up. Then he didn't cast hurt more until he had stop spell off, which I think is a setting for the enemies. I think some of them have that AI or that pattern where it's like, first I lock you down, then I blow you up, and he had that going for him, as opposed to Red Dragon, who didn't care and would cast whatever he wanted to and punch you and generally raise havoc.
And havoc he did raise indeed.
I assume Tyerenex is a high level. He was 17. He's higher than me. I assume he was also in Sherlock and just getting stonewalled by the dragons.
Yeah, there were a couple of deaths in Sherlock. It took 2 attempts to go down to the basement to acquire Erdrick's sword, and in that time frame was fighting up to level 17 and even going in and making a dive. I think it might have been the second dive into Sherlock at 17 when you had hit the dot done and there was an immediate forfeit right after that.
Yeah, I noticed that. So I figured he was either right behind me or having no luck getting through Sherlock because it's not bad till the last floors. Like Sherlock was very tame until the very end, and then it's like, oh, by the way, Golem, Red Dragon, have fun.
And the debate was going on in chat here as well because Tyerenex still had the death necklace. The possibility of using it to get that additional 10 attack power versus bringing the max hit points down to 100, it was certainly a consideration, but Tyerenex opted to go into the swamp cave at that point, grind up to 17, and there were beefy stats galore here. As I'm looking, it was a 12 strength, 8 agility, 11 hit points, and 11 magic points.
Yeah.
So that was the definitive. I mean, I'm looking here at the stats, and all of them are green as far as our tracker here. So it was just a matter of getting down there was the hard part.
Yeah, Dragon Lord would have been a mincemeat fight. It would have been child's play at that point with those stats. I was pretty strong myself. Adding 10 to that plus maybe another 10 from the death necklace. No, I've been rolling low 20s, the minimum I think. It was something stupid like that. So it would have been like an 8-round Dragon Lord fight. It would have been insane.
Yeah, and we were looking at it at that point, considering the attack would have been 148 with 145 hit points, could probably just not bother with the death necklace and just continue to obliterate it at 12 to 24 clip. So, I mean, that's when it's that high, it's kind of debatable as to how much it helps. But either way, the Red Dragon seemed to be the more difficult challenge, as were the Armored Knights.
Yeah, AKs, I think I saw one Sherlock only. I saw them outside the castle a few times, and they were definitely mean. Actually, that Swamp Cave the first time I got sniped by the killed him. But yeah, they weren't. I didn't see them in the castle, which is just a stroke of luck at that point. 'Cause I went through 2 dives and used them once in the castle, so that's just lucky on my part.
So with this victory, you go to 2-1. So at absolute worst, you'll have the play-in coming up in a few weeks, and at best, you can continue to run the table and get a bye into the second round of the bracket stage.
That'd be interesting. Again, Dragon Lore Randomizer, as I've mentioned a few times, is probably the cruelest randomizer in terms of, it'll let you win eventually, but you'll have to pay your dues. So any given race, again this race, like last race I walked 2 steps more to the south, I would have seen a town. I would have seen a coal right there in the swamp. I didn't see the first half hour of the game. I was too good. Grinding levels too fast. So again, that kind of stroke of luck can really change fate of a seed. So skill is important, luck is important, and don't take it too seriously. It's a randomizer. You're having a little fun. Don't get mad when you walk out of the cave the umpteenth time, and the dragon kills you the umpteenth time. It just happens. Just roll with it.
That is indeed the nature of randomizer. You have to keep going to that cave. There's multiple chests you need, and you keep getting sent right back out of the cave.
Yeah, I think Mountain Cave by luck. And then the first grind's luck too, because I got to the treasury and guessed right in the last chest to be a gold chest. So I was just a lot of luck involved here. Like, don't make any mistakes. Tyerenex at a higher level, so you did more fighting. Had the same gear as me more or less. So luck played a factor here. The fact that my grind went smoothly, my dive went smooth, and my control grind was kind of a guess. I got lucky with the chest. So all things considered, luck definitely played a good factor.
Yeah, getting those good rolls, along with getting those doubles in, as the Dragon Lord wasn't all that beefy this time around. He only had 158. Even if he did have that extra 7 to make it 165, you still had an extra attack in there. So those double rolls and those high rolling hits definitely helped you out there. So seems the RNG gods were on your side a little in that fight.
Not sure I'll pay for a future date, but in the meantime, I'll take it.
Well, not to throw any bad luck on you, but if I end up facing you next week, hopefully a little of that luck will come my way.
That's all good. No, again, it's randomizer, so again, especially this randomizer, you go into it, you're gonna die a few times. You might die a lot of times. Just if it happens to you, no matter how bad it is for you, remember your opponent's in the same seed and they're getting killed by the same enemies, and they can't find the same town, and they can't find the cave that you're looking for.
Or at least you hope.
Yeah, whatever happens to you, odds are pretty solid that the opponent is also, gnashing their teeth doing the same thing. So just take it, laugh at it, and you die to that's why I deal 2 breath that wasn't there half hour ago. Just roll your eyes and keep going.
Most certainly. So, any final thoughts here, Seawolf, before we wrap things up here for the moment and take about a 75-minute respite?
I'm saying next seed hopefully be a little faster. Last few seeds I've seen and watched have been kind of grindy. That happens. Again, there's a certain beauty in the grind seed, bad levels, and being clever. Praying for stop spells, though, to heal more. Things of that nature. So it's if you like defense, if you like hard fought close battles, you get those too. If you like blowouts, occasionally you get those seeds with strength, early sword, and go down. So again, you get a variety of things to see. So randomizer never ceases to be entertaining, in my opinion.
That's the beauty of randomizer. It's a new game every time. So you get to replay your favorites in a whole new world.
It is a beautiful thing, and we've got another one of those beautiful things coming up in just a little over an hour from now, over on, I believe, the main Randomania network, as it will be the last of our 2-0 competitors going in. So one will automatically qualify for the bracket stage coming up later tonight. It's going to be Azrael Ravenheart against JJ Schmidt 77, and that'll be coming your way at 10:30 Eastern on Randomania. So make sure to give our runners a follow here. The Seawolf1 and Tyerenex both doing a fantastic job in their races here. Also, behind the scenes, got to give a thanks here to Sparkover, who was taking care of the restreaming duties. Also, Wolfman 2000, who has done just an insane amount of things behind the scenes here in terms of production, organization, and everything else, taking care of the tracking this time around. And Rhea Station, my broadcast partner here, always a pleasure. I was going to say, we're at least at double digits at this point of the races that we've commentated together here, and it's always been a blast doing so. I'm looking forward to many more.
Yeah, I'd have to say we've been paired quite a few times, more than I can count for sure.
Yeah, between the Chaos tournament and this tournament here, and I think a couple of weeklies thrown in there in between, although I think for the weeklies you were usually in them, so more so the tournament format. But yeah, I think we're closing in on, if not already at at least 10 that we've commentated together here, and it's been great to bring things to you here among the Randomania networks. So for our runners, for our restreamer, our tracker, and for my broadcast partner, Rhea Station, I'm Ferran Burgundy, saying until next time, may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. So long, everyone.